There is a unique stillness in the air on a Halloween night, a feeling that hangs in the crisp autumn atmosphere, something more than just the thrill of costumes and the promise of candy. It's an ancient memory, a whisper from a time when this night wasn't a celebration, but a recognition, a cautious observance of the moment when the veil between our world and the next grows thin. For our ancestors, this was Samhain, a night when the ghosts of the dead could walk among the living, when the future could be glimpsed in the flicker of a fire, and the boundaries of reality itself seemed to soften and blur. We've held on to the echoes of that belief, haven't we? We tell ghost stories, we dare each other to walk through graveyards, we light jack-o'-lanterns to ward off spirits we claim not to believe in. It's all just a bit of fun. But deep within the folklore of this night, there are traditions that were never meant to be fun. They are rituals, procedures, warnings disguised as games, born from the chilling idea that if you perform the right actions in the right way, you can deliberately reach through that thinning veil, and that sometimes something might just reach back. These are the rituals you should never try, the games that were never meant to be played, the doorways that were meant to remain forever closed. The mirror's gaze. We should begin with the most familiar of these forbidden games, the one whispered about during sleepovers and spoken of in hushed, nervous tones. It's a ritual that requires so little: a dark room, a candle, and a mirror. We all know its name, Bloody Mary. The instructions are deceptively simple. You stand before the mirror, holding only a single candle for light, and you chant her name 3 times, 13 times. The number varies with the telling of the tale, but the outcome promised is always the same. A figure is said to materialize in the glass. An apparition, pale and gaunt, or sometimes bloody and terrifying, who will stare back at you from the other side. But who is she? Who is the spirit we are so eager to summon? The stories are a tangled web of tragic folklore. Some say she is Mary, Queen of England, a monarch haunted by the ghosts of those she had executed, her face forever locked in a state of grief and rage. Others believe she is a local witch named Mary Worth, executed centuries ago for practicing dark arts, her spirit now trapped within the reflective prison of the mirror, waiting to be called upon. Science, of course, offers a more grounded explanation for what happens in that darkened room. It's likely a combination of psychological suggestion and a fascinating perceptual phenomenon known as the Troxler effect. When you stare at your own reflection in low, flickering light, your brain begins to filter out the unchanging stimuli. Your features seem to distort, to melt and reform into something unfamiliar, even monstrous. You aren't summoning a spirit. You are simply witnessing your own mind failing to recognize your face. And yet, that explanation, as logical as it is, never quite seems to quiet the fear, does it? It doesn't explain the profound sense of unease, the feeling of being watched not by your own reflection, but by an actual presence. Every year, people attempt this ritual, and some come away with stories they cannot explain. Stories of a distinct whisper from the glass, of a cold touch in an empty room, of a face in the mirror that was most certainly not their own. The mirror has long been seen as a portal, a scrying glass into other realms. And the question that Bloody Mary forces us to ask is a terrifying one. What if, just once, it isn't a trick of the light? What if it's a successful connection? The Three Kings. The simple act of summoning a spirit into a mirror feels almost like child's play compared to rituals that require more intent, more preparation, where the goal is not just to see something, but to journey into the strange liminal spaces that exist at the edge of our own consciousness. This brings us to a far more modern and far more dangerous legend. It is known as the Three Kings ritual. This isn't a game of dares, it's a procedure with a strict set of instructions, almost like a psychological experiment designed to break down the walls of your own mind. It requires a large, dark, and empty room, preferably in a basement with no windows. You need 3 chairs, 2 large mirrors, a candle, and a fan. And crucially, you need a partner, a trusted friend to wait outside the room, ready to pull you back to reality if things go horribly wrong. The setup is precise. 1 chair is the throne, where you will sit. The other 2 chairs are placed on either side of you, holding the mirrors, which must face you and each other at a slight angle. From your throne, you should be able to see your own reflection in your peripheral vision, but never by looking directly at the glass. The fan is placed in front of you, turned on to a low setting, meant to create a subtle, disorienting sensation. At exactly 3:30 in the morning, you sit on your throne, holding the unlit candle. Your partner is meant to light it for you and then leave the room, closing the door behind them. And then you wait. Staring straight ahead into the darkness, you are meant to enter a different state of being. The mirrors on your left and right become your queen and your fool. The ritual is said to be a way to access your own subconscious, to confront things buried deep within you. People who claim to have performed it speak of a dissociative state, a feeling of being a passenger in their own body as they have a conversation with the figures in the mirrors. Figures that are, and yet are not, themselves. But this journey comes with terrifying rules. You must not, under any circumstances, look directly at the candle flame. You must not let the candle go out. And most importantly, if the figures in the mirrors change, if they become distorted or hostile, or if you feel a sudden sense of dread, you must end the ritual immediately. Your partner, listening from outside the door, is your only lifeline. If they hear you scream, they must call your name to bring you back. If that doesn't work, they must enter the room and extinguish the flame. Because the danger, the stories say, is that you can get lost in that other place. Or worse, you might invite something from that dark, internal world back into this one. It is a journey to a throne room of the mind, but one that risks crowning your demons as the true kings. The elevator to nowhere. Venturing into the dark corners of the mind is one kind of horror. It's a personal, internal journey. But what about a ritual that promises to take you somewhere else entirely, physically? A ritual that uses the cold, impersonal mechanics of the modern world to travel to a place that feels ancient and deeply, terribly wrong. This is the legend of the elevator game. Originating as an urban legend from Korea, this ritual requires a specific location. A building with at least 10 floors and a single elevator. Like the Three Kings, it is a sequence of precise steps, a combination that must be entered perfectly to unlock a hidden destination. You must enter the elevator alone on the first floor. Once inside, you press the buttons for the floors in a specific, unchangeable order. 4, then 2, then 6, then 2 again, then 10, and finally 5. As the elevator moves, you are forbidden from getting out. If someone else gets on, the ritual is broken, and you must start over. The journey itself is said to be disorienting, the elevator moving up and down in a way that feels unnatural, the hum of its machinery sounding just a little off. When you reach the 5th floor, the story says the doors will open and a woman will get on. You must not look at her. You must not speak to her. She is not what she seems. She is considered by some to be a guide, by others a guardian intended to stop you. Once she is on board, you press the button for the 1st floor. If the ritual has worked, the elevator will not go down. It will begin to ascend past the 10th floor into a part of the building that should not exist. The only way to know you have arrived is to look out of the elevator's window, if it has one. You are said to be in another world. It will look almost identical to your own, but with one stark, terrifying difference. A faint red cross will be visible in the sky, and you will be the only living person there. All the lights will be on, but the buildings will be empty. Your phone will not work. There is only silence. The true horror of the elevator game isn't just the arrival, it's the possibility of not being able to return. To get back, you must use the same elevator and enter the same sequence of numbers. But even then, there are dangers. You might become disoriented and get lost in the silent, red-tinged world. And the woman who boarded with you, she might still be there. The game is a journey to an alternate dimension, a dead world that mirrors our own. It plays on our fear of isolation, of being completely, utterly alone in a place that feels familiar, yet is fundamentally wrong. It suggests that our reality is just one stop on the elevator's path, and that if you know the right combination, you can take a ride to somewhere you were never meant to go. From a simple chant in a mirror, to a complex journey into the psyche, to a physical ride to another dimension. These rituals, whether ancient folklore or modern legends, all stem from the same fundamental human impulse, the desire to know what lies beyond the veil. They are born from our curiosity about the unknown and our deep-seated fear of what we might find there. They persist, not because they are proven to work, but because they represent a keyhole in the door of our perceived reality. We tell these stories as warnings, as thrilling tales to share in the dark. But they are also a reminder that on a night like Halloween, when the world feels charged with strange energy, the line between a game and a genuine invitation can become terrifyingly thin. Perhaps it's all just psychology, perhaps it's just stories, but maybe, just maybe, these rituals are echoes of something true. Instructions left behind for doors we have long forgotten how to open. And it's probably for the best that we keep them that way. After all, once a door is opened, you never know what might decide to walk through it. Stay curious, but stay safe.